So here's one for the list of videos I never thought I'd get to record. Drift Stage was an early Kickstarter favorite among arcade racing fans who have long been starved for new content from the genre's founding fathers, Sega and Namco, that seem largely disinterested in continuing the legacy they began in the early 90s. Alongside the ill-fated and worst-titled 90s Arcade Racer, Drift Stage was going to give arcade racers a much-needed shot in the arm and give this underserved player base something to hang their hats on in the 21st century. While the Kickstarter itself was a resounding success, the development itself was deeply troubled. Months turned into years, and although backers were for a time given a steady feed of pre-alpha builds to enjoy, the project never really advanced into further stages until it was effectively, if not officially, cancelled. What ensued was, from all indications, a long and messy legal battle between the game's producer and programmer, while at least one outside studio based in Chile tried to capitalize on the situation and portray itself as the developer. And that was it. For a few years it looked like that would be the end of the story, and the indie arcade racing scene would be left for another push helmed by Horizon Chase Turbo, Hot Shot Racing, and Formula Retro Racing. All fantastic games in their own right. That all changed the morning of January 13th, 2023, when Drift Stage made a surprise appearance on Steam Early Access in the form of the third quarter 2018 build that was never released to the public in order to fund continued development of the game. As a Kickstarter backer, it does kind of suck having to throw more money in to get Drift Stage over the finish line, though I would love an opportunity to get a version of the Kickstarter backer shirt in my actual size since they topped off at large back then. But with arcade racers as one of my 3 go-to gaming genres, I did it without hesitation. And hot damn has this game grown. It's very safe to say that Drift Stage is back. The overall driving model feels a lot more polished than it did in those early Kickstarter builds, and a third course, Aqualux Labs, was introduced, which involves zero actual drifting but gives the game a fun Wangan Midnight type of feel that will be really interesting once more cars and hopefully a slipstreaming mechanic can be added. But I have a feeling this track will see the most change before Drift Stage reaches anything close to a finished state. The other 2 courses, Island Test Track and Eventide Highway, formerly known as Sunset City, are pretty much exactly as I remember them from the early builds, and that's not a bad thing as they really help nail down the game's retro-inspired aesthetic. I've gone on about the necessity of invisible walls on this channel before, and they're definitely going to be needed in Drift Stage, as I managed to drive completely off the world at one point on Eventide Highway. The Sakura is apparently a beast that cannot be confined by the game's environments as is, and I say that without any criticism at all. The car is great. The drifting mechanic has also evolved considerably since the early builds, now feeling like some blend of Daytona and Outrun. I'd almost go as far as to say that they overcorrected with it, as the handling feels extremely lenient now. But if I were to choose between the early physics and this, I'll take this 1,000 times over. Also included is a track editor that I can't wait to dig into once I figure out how it all works. I'm hoping that it's similar to Ballistic NG's so I can use pre-existing knowledge and start churning out tracks in short order. Both games are Unity-based, so I hope that carries over. It's going to be very difficult dropping Drift Stage into an arcade racing genre that now includes Horizon Chase Turbo, Hot Shot Racing, and Formula Retro Racing, as they make it far more competitive than it was during the original Kickstarter. Still, between Super System's obvious ambition and the foundation that's already in place, there isn't a doubt in my mind that, with a little momentum from this early access release, Drift Stage will find a big place for itself in this space. So that's all for now. If you like this video, then be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Click the notification bell to know exactly when the next video drops. I'm Patrick Mifflin, and I'll see you back here next time.